Chapter 19, Closed Book. Once the authorities arrive, it's like popping the cork on a bottle of champagne. Everything happens all at once. Medical examiners make their way to the walk-in freezers as two paramedics carry Pete's covered body towards a waiting ambulance. God, I had no idea blood could spatter that far after a fall from 30 feet. Lucky you. You sit at the base of the stairs with your ally still reeling from all that's happened as detectives take statements from other guests. So after Mr. Galliant and Miss Kapoor's death, Mr. Perick tried to frame the author, Finn Mason? That's right. Who then tried to pin it on me, and all you idiots fell for it. I knew it wasn't you. I knew it was Pete from the start. No, Crystal, you really didn't. Medics check you all for injuries. The authorities question people in smaller groups, and for the first time in days, you have breathing room. Do I really want to talk to these guys? No. I'm ready to get out of here. You meet back up with Dante, Farah, and John, just outside the front door. They're all gazing outside. Towards the ambulance that now holds Pete's remains. It pulls away, starting down Nick's long drive. Good riddance. I hope they cleaned up all the bits and pieces of him. I'd hate to find a spare scrap of Pete lying on the cement. And I'm gonna try not to look at the dark patch on the ground too closely. The rest of the party makes their way outside in pairs, Angelina and Liz holding hands, Steve with his arm around Crystal's waist. All I've wanted for these past days is to get away from here, and now that we can, part of me doesn't want to leave. Speak for yourself, I'm ready to get out of this dump. Shame to leave all of Nick's epic booze behind, though. Steve, please. Have literally any sense of decorum. They got a point, though. This might be the last time we're all at the same place. We might never see each other at this house again. You hold up the document from Nick's safe. You had a few minutes to brief the others on it when the authorities first arrived. Right, with this plan still going through, he wanted this place torn down. The land's being given back to the county. Is it crazy that part of me will miss it? Not the mansion itself, just some of the times I had here. It's pretty normal, you know. After a traumatic event, it can really be helpful to say goodbye to things that served you. I don't know about that, but I'd like to say one last goodbye to Nick and to Madani. What if we did a farewell tour? Sent this place off properly? Give some closure. Let's take a look around one last time. The eight of you step into the house again, and this time it feels truly empty, like a hollowed-out version of itself. Why does this place suddenly creep me out now? Yeah, I feel it too, like all the joy of this place is gone. So, anyone know how to say goodbye like this? Like, do we light some candles? I think we all get to do whatever feels right for us. I'm planning on taking some mementos before this is all gone. Forget the sentimental crap. We can do whatever we want. Not like anybody's gonna live here anymore. Crystal pushes a vase onto the ground as it shatters. I've always hated that. It gave off bad vibes. That's the spirit. Let's send this place off in a blaze of glory. Steve runs up the stairs to the balcony overlooking the foyer, eyeing the abstractly shaped chandelier. I've always wanted to swing from that thing. Are you sure about that? Don't stop him. Steve! Do it. Steve. This one goes out to all the Steve heads out there. Cowabunga! Steve winks at Crystal, and he leaps from the railing and grabs the chandelier. The chandelier pitches lazily to the side, twirling around in circles, sending Steve spinning through the air. Oh, that's my man. Thank God. I thought it was just gonna drop him. I wish it would've. There's still a chance. Make way for the Steve Copper! Steve, let's go. Dropping to the floor and landing with a surprisingly deft barrel roll. That's how it's done. Honestly, I'm kind of impressed. Yeah, that the wire didn't snap. Okay, you've had your fun. Let's keep moving before Steve finds something else to swing from. The group makes its way into the living room. Farah suddenly runs over to a closet, a look of excitement on her face. I have an idea. Nick always left this wall empty for some questionable interior design reason. He told me he was going through a minimalist phase, one that lasted over a year, apparently. Farah pulls a pair of spray paint cans from the closet. I've always wanted to paint the wall with, well, anything. Break up all the beige. Nick just had paint cans lying around in there? Nick and I used to do some art projects together. You don't repurpose as many paintings as we did and not want to try your hand at it. Was Nick any good? I hate to speak ill of the dearly departed friend, but let's just say his art skills rival elementary school students. So we've got a low bar to clear. God, I never learned how to draw either. I'm more of a spreadsheet artist. I'm game. What are we painting? We should paint Nick and Madani. It'd be a good way to honor them one last time. I like that. Were we thinking something impressionistic or maybe realistic or... Just do whatever moves you. Everyone grabs a spray can and does their best to paint Nick and Madani in their own style. Crystal draws an abstract color painting. Steve, a pair of stick figures. Angelina, a pair of broken hearts. Liz writes the words, thank you, in the shape of a heart. Nice work, John. I like the use of the negative space. John's work is an exterior portrait. Farah's a surprisingly realistic and beautiful painting, and Dante's an abstract cubist rendition. You do your best to capture Nick and Madani's features when your eyes start to water. Damn, I should have known this would get me. As you stop to wipe away the tears, you notice the rest of the group fighting back tears as well. Even John rubs a hand over his eyes. This was nice. I think they'd like it. Yeah. Just wish they both could see it. You head to the dining room next, where you find the entrance to the puzzle room still open and Nick's chair at the head of the table. Remember when he first handed out our roles? Madani was so nervous. I've been looking forward to it all week. Nick even gave John and me the weekend off to play with everyone. With some out-there role choices. Only Nick could have come up with those. He knew I didn't want to be typecasted again, so he gave me a role that I could really sink my teeth into. He wanted you to grow. Nick wanted us all to be better versions of ourselves, himself included. And the better version of me knows now how to make 27 different period-accurate cocktails. Dante rests his hand on the head of Nick's chair, flipping into his bartender voice one last time. Thanks, boss. You were the bee's knees. Your next stop is an even more solemn but necessary one. The crime scene tape and series of small placards now cordon off the dead red stain where you once found Madani's body. Should we really be in here? I'm with Crystal. This is how hauntings start. It's one last goodbye. Tough it out for Madani. Farah runs a finger along the nightstand where a pair of her glasses still sit. I'm sorry, Madani. You were so sharp and you worked yourself so hard. I'm so sorry you used all of that to hurt you. I wish... She lets out a shaky breath, rubbing her eyes, and you give her shoulder a comforting squeeze. I trusted her with my life. It's just doesn't feel right that she's the only other one he took. Yeah, I keep still expecting her to walk through the door. At least she can rest now. We didn't have much time to get to know each other, but I know you spent your life helping others, your patients, and your friends. So wherever you are now, I hope you're able to find some peace. She deserves it. Back in the hall, Steve rubs Crystal's back. She looks shaken. Oh, this place feels more suffocating the longer we stay here. We're almost done. There's just one last spot that I need to see. You step into Nick's bedroom, still soaked from the fire sprinklers. Thankfully, the glass from the broken lights has been swept up. Last room. Okay, I can do this for Nick. as the others wistfully glance around. You head across the room looking for one thing in particular. On the table, mercifully untouched by the sprinklers, is the same copy of your latest book that you saw the first day of your investigation. Murder by Midnight. He clearly read it a lot. I hope you won't mind me taking this home with me, just as a keepsake. As you stash the book under one arm, John steps into the middle of the room holding a bottle of whiskey and some shot glasses. The bottle we found up here earlier. Let's pour one out for Nick. That's a good tribute. Just don't drink yours, Steve. Nah, this one's for my man, Nick. John pours everyone a glass. You all gather in a circle, holding your drinks up. To Nick. He changed all of our lives in different ways. He gave us comfort. And love. A paycheck and appreciation. A lot of good times. A support. A home. Understanding. Belief. Thank you for always believing in me. Even when I didn't. To Nick. All at once, you pour your drinks out together, a fond farewell to the man who brought you all together. A few minutes later, you all meet outside the front of the mansion. Everyone got what they need? I'm all set. John has the least luggage by far. Farah has several very large, somewhat oddly shaped suitcases and packages beside her. Your bag is huge, Farah. You're pulling a heist? No, just, I've been storing the latest fashion trends here every time I visit. And they may be out of style now, but I can't let them go to waste. And I guess this is it. Time to say goodbye. The group looks up at the house one more time, and for the first time you feel the beginnings of closure. You glance at the three people standing closest to you, the ones who helped you through the darkest parts of these past days, and there's no more mystery to think about. Just the future. I want to kiss Farah, kiss John, kiss Dante. You lock eyes with John and see your own relief mirrored in them. There's no need for words as you lean in. He kisses you with surprising gentleness, his touch filling you with warmth as all the fears you've been carrying suddenly melt away. I couldn't have made it through this without you, John. Likewise. I'm very glad you took Nick up on that invitation. Crystal slings her bag of belongings over her shoulder. Well, I've had enough of this place for one lifetime. Goodbye, everyone! It's, been real. I'm out too. Send me a copy of your next book, Finn. No, you can buy it like all the others. I have to finish it first. Liz and Angelina slip away as Steve and Crystal head towards Steve's car, leaving you standing with Dante, John, and Farah. Anyone else want to stick around for a few minutes and enjoy the view? Yes, please. You head around to the back to the mansion's pool, the first spot where you all were in one place together. As the four of you sit and soak your feet in the water, you finally broach the inevitable question. So what's next for all of you? I mean, once Nick and Madani's cases are officially wrapped up. Well, I still got a movie to find funding for, and more importantly, a producer to kick off the project. Really? He nods. The project means a lot to me, but I can't just let the producer get away with what he did. Even if it means the movie never sees the light of day, it's the right thing to do. Well, good on you. I need to deliver the stolen art in my car back to the people it rightfully belongs to, but after that, I'll have to learn how to run my operation solo again. Nick left me a few connections, but I've gotten used to his help on shipping side. Well, don't look at me. I'm getting out of the city. You going to look for a new job? Eventually. Right now, I'm going to spend some time at home. See if I can help my family out. Look at this as an opportunity. What about you, Miss Author Extraordinaire? Back to working on your manuscript? I need a vacation first. I still think there's a good story in there, buried under all the unfinished revisions and my new helping of personal trauma. But I need a break from thinking about murder and mayhem before I can do it justice. Hopefully my agent agrees. Given the circumstances you've just survived, they'd better. The only thing I know for sure is that I want to see you all again. This can't be the last time we get together. Nick would have wanted his closest friends to stick together, so we'll stay in touch, right? I think I can manage that if Nick insists. I'd hate to disappoint Nick. That means yes, and it's a yes from me too, Finn. Good. 6 months later. There is electricity in the air as you pace in a small changing room. Getting loud outside. I never knew my book launch would get this popular, but if the crowd's as big as it sounds, I'd better look my best. You try on an outfit you bought just for the launch day festivities, glancing at the mirror. Otherwise, we would wear what we've been wearing. I can do this. I am a professional author who definitely never gets stage fright. I can do this. Take a deep breath and head out of the changing room. To the auditorium stage, where you're nearly deafened by the cheers from excited crowd. Oh my god, there she is. Did you hear the author writes mysteries and solves them? Yeah, but I had no idea she was so hot. Look at that outfit. What, this old thing? You give the crowd a wave and a wink, and the cheers intensify. Oh, and still so accessible. I feel like I could have a beer with her. The word of your latest publication and your role in solving Nick and Madani's murder has clearly gotten around. And as you cross the stage towards the waiting spotlight, you see familiar faces. Looking good, Finn. Dante shoots you a wink, citing visible jealousy in several 20-somethings hovering in his orbit. John is just a few steps away from him, directing a few last guests to their seats, but when he turns to see you, his face lights up in a smile. You've got this, Finn. And in the row behind them both, fanning herself with a copy of your new book, is bought Farah. She gives you a flirty wink. Hello, Miss Author. You're a sight for sore eyes. Sitting in the front row, their hands laced together, Angelina and Liz both beam up at you. I told you I'd get us good seats. I should have never doubted you. You spot Steve at one end of the auditorium and Crystal at the other. Who thought that was gonna last? Not me. You're sitting as far away from each other as humanly possible. Yikes. The moment you fully step into the spotlight, all the hubbub dies down. The crowd looks up at you and you take a deep breath. Hi everyone, I know it's a beautiful day outside, so thanks for being willing to sit inside and talk about books. The crowd chuckles and your nerves quickly begin to fade. You can do this. You want to do this. As you hopefully know, I'm Finn Mason. I'm here to read a bit of my newest novel. Hold it up. There'll be a signing afterwards in the bookshop next door, but before we get to all that, there are two people I need to thank. The book is dedicated to my friend Nick Galliant and someone I wish I'd gotten to know better, Dr. Madani Kapoor. It's no exaggeration to say that without the two of them, I wouldn't be standing here right now. So, thank you both for everything. You lift the book in silent toast in the crowd. Angelina wipes her eyes. Dante gives you a solemn nod. You can feel the weight of every eye in the auditorium upon you as you flip open the first page and begin to read. Chapter 1. A Party to Die For. 20 minutes later, you're at a signing table working your way through the line. Thanks so much for coming. Who's next? Two hands appear in your field of view, each wearing a sparkling engagement ring. Guess what? Oh, no way, you're engaged. Would you believe that we both tried to propose to each other on the same night? Actually, yeah, that would have been my first guess. Congrats, you two. So, where's my invite to the wedding? Don't worry, your save the date's already in the mail. That's my Liz, always organized. I thought you'd want to know. I've been keeping an eye on Whoosh since I left. I still have some connections there. The new CEO, well, he's not Nick, but he's not Pete either. He checked all the surveillance project Pete was obsessed with. Well, that sounds promising. I'm glad the company is still doing okay. Me too, even if I don't exactly miss the executive assistant life. Did you know she's been working on a novel in her free time? Gigi, don't jinx it! No, don't leave me in suspense. What's it about? It's kind of a romance about a personal assistant who falls for a supermodel boss. Is this the next Choices book? Singers for days. Writing. What you know, huh? I can't wait to read it. I'll have to finish it first. Yeah, that's the hardest part, but if you ever want any pointers, you've got my number. The two of them beam at you. Liz pulls you into a brief hug before they let you get back to signing. As you sign the last few books, you overhear Steve chatting up one of your fans. No, you're thinking of Whoosh. That is totally different. This is Swoosh, a smart mob. But that doesn't all the water end up shorting out the device? Less than 50% of the time, and even then, you have a limited 60-day warranty. I'm sorry, I don't think I'm interested. When the line for signed books finally lets up, you tuck one particular copy beneath your arm and head towards the door. Sounds like that's going about as well as expected. I wonder why he's not with... But just then you overhear a familiar silver-haired woman talking loudly into her phone. Yes, Eddie, I'm right here in the bookstore by him. I got the signature, so hopefully we can put this behind me. Who knew a Vegas ceremony conducted by a drag king Freddie Mercury would be so freaking hard to get out of? I'm gonna need a long freeze in the cryo bread to get the toxins of the divorce out of my skin. Yikes. Can't say I missed seeing those two, but it's good to see you. You spin around to find John beside you wearing a small grin. Hey, John, I missed you. You pull him into a hug, and his strong arms encircle you in a warm, familiar embrace. As you part, he murmurs in your ear. I missed you too. You know, I've never been to a book signing before, but you were great. And you look very professional. Is this a new outfit? Yeah, my agent actually gave me an outfit budget for this launch. Something about making sure I didn't show up looking cottagecore. Whatever that means, it paid off. Thanks for noticing. I've got a car waiting outside if you're ready to go. Yeah, let me just make sure I've got... Glance down to where you could have sworn you tucked the copy of your book beneath your arm, but there's nothing there. Where's my... Looking for this? Farah is leaning in the store's doorway, holding the book in one hand. Farah... Is that all the hello I get? That was just part one. She saunters up to press the book into your hands, and then leans in to press a kiss to your cheek. That was part two. Okay, I liked part two. She gestures for you to do a quick spin so she can look at your outfit up and down. I like this new you, very fashionable. Someone could almost forget that you're an incorrigible nerd. Oh, that's one of my best qualities. That's why I said almost. And she's right. You'd look right at home on the red carpet. Dante gives you an admiring grin as he joins your little group. You're gonna have to let me know where you got that outfit. That is some quality tailoring. Is that your way of saying I look good? Nah, you always look good. Right now you look sharp, which is way harder to pull off. Thanks for coming to see me. I know you've been busy filming. You didn't have to fly out, just Finn, stop right there. He pulls you in a hug, letting his lips brush your cheek as he murmurs, I wouldn't have missed this for the world. So, is everyone ready to visit an old friend? Yeah, I think I finally am. Joan drives the four of you across town to a spot you've visited a few times before, the place where Nick was finally buried. You pull out the copy of your book, the first one the publisher ever sent you, and write a few words inside the cover. To Nick, who believed in me, even when I didn't. Love, Finn. You write those last few words, close the book, place it against Nick's headstone. I've been saving this one. It only seemed right, considering you had all the other ones, and I did end up basing one of my characters on you. So enjoy your time in the spotlight. Thanks for making it all possible. Your companion stands solemnly beside you, gazing down at his name carved in the granite. Dante rests a hand on the headstone. Thank you for bringing us all together. Thank you for making things right in the end. Thank you for keeping my secrets. Seeing Nick's rave always makes your chest feel heavy, but with all of them at your side, it's easier to turn away this time. You all stroll along the path together, letting the sunlight warm your skin. Anybody have updates they need to give Nick or the rest of us? I do, actually. Good news and bad news. Good news is I went public about the accident. Got the producer fired, the victim all the compensation he was owed. Well, that's wonderful, Dante. I'm proud of you. And the bad news? The movie got canned. Other producer backed out. Now the studio's sitting on the rights and refusing to do anything with them. They can do that? Unfortunately, yeah. But I'm trying to pick my battles, move on to the next thing. Dante, I'm still proud of you. I think I'm proud of me too. He smiles wistfully. It was a dream project, but I just kept thinking, do I want the biggest break in my career to be tied to someone else's suffering? And it turns out that there was only one answer I could live with. You made the right call. Only thanks to you all. Getting it off my chest at Nick's place really helped me clear my head. It's not all bad news. I've got a lead in the sci-fi film coming up. Canonically by character. I think he has a robot arm. Good for you. We love to see more representation on the silver screen. Speaking of, I've seen you in social pages, Farah. Does that mean you're back on the art theft grind? I am, and I have a new high society partner in my endeavors. You may know her as the taller half of our favorite sapphic power couple. Wait, Angelina is helping you steal art from the rich? Not steal, no, but she's handling the logistics Nick used to help me with, shipping, places to stash pieces, even access to certain parties. Wow. So work is going well? Oh yes, it turns out being public besties with a supermodel can get you in almost any door. I had to stash a few things at her and Liz's place at first, but we've sorted out the logistics sense. Does Liz know about this? She's not sitting on millions in stolen art with no clue, right? Oh, of course she knows. She's actually taken on most of the tracking and shipping, which are parts I was worst at, to be honest. Then I'm glad you've got some partners in crime. Good for Angelina. It turns out our politics are more aligned than I thought. Just another thing she and Nick never really talked about, I suppose. Or who knows, maybe some of his relentless idealism rubbed off on her. The path leads you out of the cemetery and into the neighboring park as Farah turns to John with a mischievous smile. Speaking of idealism, I hear our resident bodyguard is a bout of that recently. Nope, nothing happening with me. Then why have I seen news clips of you cleaning ducklings with dish soap? You've been holding a baby duck and no one told me or sent me video clips? I am heard. It's a recent thing. Took me a while to get it all in order, but I started a non-profit to clean up my hometown. Mostly I've been working to get things back to some semblance of normal. It's really not that exciting. Agree to disagree on that one? So, how is your family doing? My parents are good, healthy. The money Nick left just helped pay for medical care for the families who lived closer to the spill, and my sisters are basically the non-profit's social media street team. You can thank them for the former bodyguard cleans duckling videos I'm about to send you, and one other that I saw on TikTok. My youngest sister might have recorded us all doing some group dances for social engagement. Oh god, did it work. I thought you were going to get engaged for a minute. So many thirsty posts. Anyway, it's mostly cleanups, a little construction, rerouting polluted water. Honestly, I'm surprised how much it's taken off. We're actually looking forward to some more environmental disasters to take on once my town's in a stable place. Look at you, Captain Planet, making the world a better place. As they chat, you glance at your three companions, smiling. I'm really lucky to have them all in my life. And over the past 6 months, you've had time to wonder what exactly do they mean to you. So this is, do you need to talk to anyone or pick your love interest about getting serious with? Jen, can I talk to you for a second? Of course. The two of you wander a little ways off the path, just out of earshot of the others. Jen glances at you, his gaze unusually soft. What did you want to talk about? Are you alright? Yeah. It's just, I haven't had much time with you since Nick's mansion. That's not on you. I've been so busy back home. Hey, no, you've got nothing to apologize for. I've been busy, too, finishing my books, revisions, and prepping for the launch. It's just, I keep thinking about all the time we spent trapped in the mansion. Not about the bad stuff. About how much I liked getting to know you. John doesn't interrupt, but his gaze remains steadily fixed on yours, encouraging. So, I was wondering if you'd want us to be something more serious? Yes. That was fast. Because your book lunch was only about 75% of the reason I flew down here. The rest was me wanting to ask you the same thing. He reaches out to take your hand. I know we're both busy, and honestly, once my hometown's in a better place, I'm not sure what my future looks like, but all I know is I want you to be a part of it. I want that too. Now kiss me already. Grinning, he pulls you into a lingering kiss. Your wish is my command. Oh, be careful saying things like that. You'll give me all kinds of ideas. He smiles, and his next words are a murmur in your ear. I was hoping to. The four of you make your way back towards where Jun's car is parked. Farah drums her fingers on the hood, looking excited. Now that with all this serious stuff is out of the way, I flew across an ocean to get here, and I expect a good time. I also came from out of town and would very much like to go somewhere that doesn't smell like root cologne and tropical mixed drinks. Well, I said I'd take everybody to brunch tomorrow, and that promise still stands, but my plans tonight are a bit more low-key. I pulled some strings and managed to get private access to the Griffith Observatory for the evening. Should be nice and quiet. I also have one stop to make, but it's more like 1 part high-class party, 2 parts grand theft art. As interested as all of that sounds, I'm gonna check out a private cove not far from here. It's supposed to be gorgeous at night. This is your last chance to learn with the chosen partner. Diamonds, basically. And of course you know who I was going to pick. "15 minutes later, you're driving up a solitary stretch of California 1. In a cozy silence of the ride, you put your hand on Jun's just to make sure he's still with you. We're almost there, I promise. It's worth the wait. I'm not in a hurry, just enjoying the ride. Jun squeezes your hand in return, sneaking a sidelong glance towards you. Me too. Before long, Jun turns off the highway and parks at the end of the dirt road. Together you walk down to... That is very pretty. A secluded beach. Moonlight glints off the gently lapping waters of the Pacific, and there's not another soul in sight. What did I tell you? Worth the wait? Jun, it's stunning. After being mobbed by mystery fans and signing more books than I can count, some peace and quiet is just what I needed. You and me both. Jun shrugs off his jacket, pulls his shirt over his head, revealing his muscular arms and shoulders. You're not wasting any time. We only have so much moonlight. Stripping down to his underwear, Jun wades into the surf, then looks back at you expectingly. You coming? The water's nice and the view's beautiful. You're just trying to get me to strap? What if I am? He raises an eyebrow, giving you an inviting glance. Alright, you win this round. You slip out of your clothes as Jun watches in appreciation. Lucky me. You wade into the cool water until it laps against your waist. Oh, that's nice. I was hoping you'd think so. He wades a little deeper, and you follow, enjoying the gentle lapping of small waves against your skin. But, why bring me into a cove like this over, say, your hotel's hot tub? Partly for seclusion, partly for quiet, partly force of habit. I've spent a lot of the past 6 months out in places like this, just me and the local otters, but I wanted a bit more company. You'd rather spend time with me than adorable baby otters? I'm touched. Yeah, they've gotten plenty of attention from me already. You, I don't get to see often as much. Well, we've both been busy. Jun nods, gently treading water. Yeah, though when I'm not working, I've found some quality reading time. I got to read the advanced copy you sent. It's good stuff. I couldn't put it down once I got started. Please keep the positive feedback coming. I need it. The auditorium full of adoring fans wasn't enough for you? It means a lot, don't get me wrong, but I want to hear your feedback. Well, in that case, he Swims a little closer to you, moonlight glinting off the water that slicks his skin. Your words jump off the page. Your characters made me laugh, cry, cheer. The ending left me wanting more. And the whole thing made me wish I could have been there to watch you write it. Whatever you're picturing, I promise the writing process is way less glamorous than that. I'm just picturing you, the most brilliant woman I know, caught up in a joy of doing something you love. It's more than enough for me. Your pulse begins to race as John looks up at you and down with a soft smile. John, you didn't bring me here just to talk about work, did you? No, I didn't. With that, he gives you a smirk and pulls his boxers out from beneath the water, tossing them on the beach. Your move. I'll strip off. You unhook your bra, letting it fall from your chest before you slip off your panties and playfully toss them both aside. How's that for a move? John gazes at you in awe, water glistening on his chest in the moonlight. I think you could call that checkmate. His gaze never leaves yours. He wades over until only a few inches of water separates the heat of his body from your own. Then checkmate. Unable to hold back any longer, you press your mouth to his, drinking in the warmth as you pull him close. He groans softly against you, nipping at your lower lip. Finn. His hands trail down your bare skin, raising goosebumps in the wake as he deepens the kiss. They finally come to rest on the small of your back as he takes a small step back to gaze at you, his eyes dark and gleaming. God, I've missed you. Missed you too. Now keep kissing me. I was planning to. He brings his mouth back to yours. He wraps his arms around you, enveloping you in the safety of his warm embrace as the waves crash around you. His kisses are slow but passionate, as if he's drinking you in along with the salt spray and the crisp night air. You aren't sure how long you spend in each other's arms, but finally, he takes your hand and leads you out onto the sandy beach. He spreads out a towel, and you both lie down beside each other, gazing up at the starry sky. I've been meaning to ask, how are you holding up since everything that happened at the mansion? Had any sleepless nights? I'm doing fine. Despite all the odds, I think I'm okay. Not to say that I never think about it, but when I do, I think of it as a closed chapter, a victory, not something to be haunted by. He nods. Good. I've seen plenty of people struggle with PTSD. I'm glad you're not going through that. Writing the book helped me put it all to rest. I got a lot of my thoughts. But what about you? Are you doing okay? Yeah. Nick wasn't exactly the first time I've lost someone, and Madani wasn't the second. It was hard for a while, but I've made space to remember them, space to allow myself to look forward instead of back. I'm glad. I just want you to know that if you ever need anything, whether it's an ear to listen or a shoulder to cry on, I'm just a phone call away. Even if it means jumping on the next flight from wherever I work next, I've got you. Thanks, John. And now that things are wrapping up in my hometown, maybe I can keep an eye out for projects a little closer to you. Really? You'd do that? Of course. Long distance isn't impossible, but if I'm gonna be your boyfriend, I want to do it right. I like that. Say it again. Boyfriend? Yeah. You squeeze his hand and give him one last kiss. And for what it's worth, you're already doing it right. Good. He gently cradles you, and the two of you listen to the gentle roll of the waves as the night carries on peacefully. The next morning, as you're preparing to head to brunch, a text summons you to the local police station. You arrive to find Dante, Jun, and Farah at the precinct. Farah's tapping her fingers on one hip, looking angsty. The detective texted you too? Yep. Likewise. I knew I was going to regret giving her my real number. And before long, 4 familiar faces join you. We aren't in trouble, are we? None of you are filing a lawsuit against me. I've considered it. Relax, Crystal. The detectives just said she wanted to tie up a few loose ends on Nick and Madani's cases. I hope that's all she has questions about. Yeah, I think we're fine, but it sounds like a conversation that Could have been an email if you ask me. The desk sergeant leads you back to an office where a series of plastic evidence bags are laid out on the desk. Thank you for coming on such short notice. I heard you were all in town, so this felt like my best chance to get everyone in one room. Was there something we can help you with, Detective? If you're looking to lock Pete up, you're one ill-considered getaway too late. Your forensic technicians might recall scraping his gray matter off the pavement. Oh, well, I'm well aware of Pete's fate. Nick Bonanni's cases are thoroughly closed. There's just one thing that's been bothering me. How a bunch of investors, debutantes, assistants, and creatives, I prefer innovator, but I'll take it. I don't think she was talking about you. Managed to turn this mess of clues into evidence against the actual murder. So I was hoping you could walk me through them, starting with these. She shoves one pile of evidence forward. It's a stack of various documents you found in your time at the mansion. Ah, Madani's medical notes, Liz's law firm, Nate, blah 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 blah. We'll go with records, I guess. These were Madani's. Liz's sensitivity to blood bumped her down the suspect list after we found this. Wait, you read our medical dossiers? Joey said those were private. You shrug. Yeah, sorry. Desperate times. What does it say about me? Crystal snatches the paper out of her hand. Reported allergy science, apparently. That absolute... Ma'am, may I remind you that you're in public? Crystal stops herself mid-sentence. Sorry, I was just overcome. Anger is not a natural human emotion. It is something we must choose to feel. Deep breaths, deep breaths. No, actually, it is a normal human emotion. Oh, we're gonna go through all this. Liz's offer. Hang on. This is my old offer letter. What does it have to do with the case, and what's it doing here? You trade looks with Farah, knowing that answering honestly would blow her cover, but she gives you a subtle nod. Oh, I found it. How? Did you break into my room? Of course not, but when you went on your little expedition to the mine, you left it open. I went to check on your room, any clues, and well, it was there. Right, I remember that. Jelena gently nudges Liz, who catches on. Gotcha, of course. Miss Flora's earlier question still stands, though. Did this illuminate anything about Mr. Gallant's murder at the time? It was a possible motive. If Liz didn't need Nick as an employer and knew about his money plans, she might have wanted to cash in on his will. Liz didn't end up being the killer, of course, but at the stage, we were trying to learn all I could about each suspect. And I did end up taking that offer. The new job is going great. She already got a promotion, and she hasn't even been at it 6 months. Why do we have to go through all this? We've already done it. Questions do you have about his emails? A lot of them are work-related, but we recovered some deleted threads referencing drop-offs and pickups. Do you have any ideas about what those could be? Besides you, Farrah stiffens ever so slightly. Crap, if the cops go digging and deep enough, they could trace his emails back to Farrah. Those are, Oh, right! They must have been that ARG Nick was playing. ARG, augmented reality. To your relief, Dante chimes in. Alternate reality game. Nick was playing a bunch of murder mystery planning for the big party. I remember him going nuts over this one. They'd mail weird packages to your house and your mysterious emails. Really immersive stuff. And people pay for this. Oh god, yes. Oh yeah, but I didn't think Nick was that much of a nerd. He literally made Whoosh, dude. Come on. Really, the man who invented a programmable vacuum. I'm serious. What if he was doing corporate espionage or part of some art smuggling ring? Farrah manages not to make a sound, but you meet her shocked gaze over Steve's shoulder. For a moment, you're lost for words. No, that doesn't fit Mr. Gallant's profile at all. Farrah finally allows herself to exhale. The emails did close in on the fact that he'd been keeping some secrets, though, before we found out about the big one. him giving up all of his assets. That does make sense. And we found confirmation of those plans on another email account. Great. You run a finger over the letter that you know Pete, not Nick, wrote. This was the first thing that made me suspect Nick hadn't actually did himself in. A typed letter is way too easy to fake. It felt weird to be relieved that he was murdered, but I was glad when you told us he didn't do it. I agree. I know people always say he never seemed like the type, but Nick really didn't. Realizing he'd been killed on my watch wasn't much easier than thinking he jumped, but I'm glad he was able to get justice for him. I just wish we'd caught the bastard sooner. Agreed. The detective finishes scribbling some notes in her notebook. That was illuminating. How about these items? She passes a few more objects across the table. Oh, God, help me. Okay. You know the statue has been long since wiped clean by the forensic techs, but you still feel a chill as you heft it in your hand. The murder weapon Pete used, I think he was hoping to use something less distinctive and dispose of it far away from the house. But then when the storm blocked the pass, he had to get rid of it in a hurry. He tossed it in a pond near the house, and when it blocked up one of the filters, well, murky water is never a good sign. All we had to do was follow the problem to its source. Cruel irony getting killed by part of your own murder mystery game, though. Yeah. Nick's hat. You run a hand over the brim of the hat, seeing it bring some of the grief closer to the surface. This was part of Nick's costume for the party. We found it in the closet separated from the rest of the outfit. It was a sign that he was changing for the party. And if you were going to kill yourself, why bother changing in a themed party attire first? Yeah, that was when I first started to believe, Finn, that Nick could have been murdered. You gently set the hat back down in Angelina's eyes. He was looking forward to wearing that suit. It's such a shame he never got to. And jar of Revivify. Crystal huffs as you examine the jar. Do we really have to go through all this again? It's pertinent to the case, isn't it? No, it's pertinent to an unrelated lawsuit, which has been dropped, by the way. But it bumped you up the suspect list for a while. Madani had slipped us a note implicating Revivify in Nick's murder. Dr. Kapoor thought someone had killed Mr. Galliant with skin cream? See? See how ridiculous that sounds? Not when said skin cream is insanely powerful sulfuric, but that was before we learned Nick was allergic to it. Not deathly allergic, mind you, but just enough to rule out that it had been used on him before his death. At least it cleared my name, if it didn't clear Nick's skin. I see. Just a few last things. These are all connected to the murder, I believe, Mr. Peric? Oh. You notice the world's most unlikely accomplice, the whoosh you found in the foyer. I hate that Nick's own invention was used to cover up his murder, but in a way it also helped us crack the case. The blood confirmed that Nick had always been killed where we thought, and it was a pin in its tray that led us to Pete. Only after you pointed the finger at me first. And then she caught the literal murder. I'd say it's still a pretty good track record. We actually found some of Mr. Peric's DNA mingled with Mr. Galliant's in the blood residue. This helped confirm your statements regarding his death and Mr. Peric's guilt. You smile at the whoosh. And thanks again, little guy. You really came through for us. Footprints. You nod towards the photos of the muddy footprints. We found those in the woods near the pond. We couldn't confirm whose they were at first, but after we found the statuette in the pond, Madani confirmed it was the murder weapon. We knew the killer had left them behind. I assumed Pete went out after the storm broke to toss the statue. He couldn't risk leaving in the house. So you were just lucky enough to stumble onto his trail? Actually, we've got Crystal to thank for that. We were looking for her, and that led us in the right direction. You're welcome. Remote last. You have the inconspicuous device in one hand. This is how Pete got away with murder. He used it to override Nick's electronic doors, spoof Nick's voice over household speakers, you name it. The fact that Finn found and unhooked that thing is half the reason we were able to catch him, let alone make it out alive. Steve's eyes the device as you set it back on the table. Never saw this puppy before. This is pretty sweet tech. Do you happen to know who set... Steve, no. I didn't even... No. I suggest you listen to Mr. Valdez and Mr. Seong on this one. Jeez, okay, I was just asking a question. It's illegal tech, you dummy. Nick's remote. The sight of the remote brings back a wistful smile to your face. We found this in the room where Nick was killed. It helped confirm that there had been a struggle in that room and we'd found the right place. Maybe more importantly, it told us that Nick went out swinging. Our boy always had grit. He knew how to scrap when he needed to. With a remote, I can't. I wish it'd been enough to save him, but I'm glad he got one good hit in. Farah squeezes John's hand. So am I. Is there anything else? The detective jots down one last note and shakes her head. No, that helped clear most of this up. Thank you for bringing all this evidence to our attention. I have to admit, for a writer, I'd never heard of you. You make a pretty good detective. Thanks, I think. An excellent detective, I'd say. Outside, you take in the group one last time. 7 people who were strangers before one invitation from Nick changed all of your lives. Well, I guess this is goodbye. Just, for now. You can give us a call anytime. If you're ever in town and need a place to stay, we'll set you up. Jillian and Liz wave, then depart. Crystal and Steve are pointedly not looking at each other, but Crystal gives you a small nod. Good luck with your next gloomy book, Finn. And if you're ever interested in getting into a more life-affirming line of work, you know where to find me. And if you ever want to invest in hot new smart mob that's about to take the world by storm, oh yeah, I'll have my people reach out to your people. Steve salutes, and he and Crystal get into separate cars. Please tell me you don't actually have people now. I was just trying to let him down easy. So, is it time for me to show you all my favorite brunch spot? Yes, please. I'll meet you all there in a few. I just have one last stop to make. You swing back by the store that hosted your book launch and approach an employee who's stocking the shelves. Sorry to bug you, but my agent said you were holding onto a couple more copies for me. I wanted to grab them before my flight tonight. Yep, I got them right here. She ducks behind a counter and returns with an armful of books, which she carefully tucks into a tote bag. Thanks for letting us host your launch, by the way. If you don't mind me saying, I'm a huge fan. Thanks. You all did a great job with the launch. The turnout was amazing. I've never gotten a crowd half that size before. Nobody trampled anyone else over the last hardcover. We're pretty good with enforcing our no trampling house policy. You turn to go, but the woman calls out after you. Sorry, actually, there was one more thing. You solved Nick Gellin's murder, right? I remember hearing about you on the news. With a lot of luck and a lot of help, yes. Then maybe you can help me too. I brought this case to the police, but they aren't taking me seriously. I don't know who else to turn to. For a moment, you can only stare at her, but then wheels start churning. It makes an exciting sort of sense. I hadn't thought of this whole unofficial detective thing as a repeat engagement, but she seems desperate. There's no reason I can't help writing stories and solving them if I want to, right? The more you think about it, the more the new vision of your future takes shape. One you feel pretty damn good about. You turn to smile at the woman and pull out a notebook. Tell me exactly what's going on and I'll see what I can do. Thank you for playing the Deadliest game. We've truly loved solving this mystery with you. Stay curious, trust your friends, and as long as you believe in yourself, omnia possibilia sunt. Alright, so without further ado, I have a few things to say, so let me first say this. If you did enjoy what I do here and the content that I put out, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Head down description, plenty of ways to support, whatnot. Without further ado, wow. So I'm going to be an optimistic person here. I know over the past couple weeks, not been myself, right? Been not reading or voicing or doing anything. You know, feel free to to join our disc, link down below to basically understand why, and you can always talk with me and ask questions and whatnot. We have our community there as well. But I'll say this. So, though I'm planning on covering this in more full detail later, um, we first and foremost thank you all for joining me along this journey of another book that we've done with choices. We've been on this app now for, I believe, 7 or so years. I've been here since day one when the app first was accessible to me. So I have always continued to put out the content as it came out, through rain, sleet, snow, no power, the whole 9 yards. So even through my own health issues. Um, here we are. I'm gonna be honest with you right now. Every day that I continue to do this and continue to put out content, I'm happy to do it. Don't get me wrong, but it's also something that's like a testament to, you know, um, we're doing something together, but also I don't want to ever leave you kind of like hanging, because of my circumstances. So I kind of hate when new books happen and whatnot, because then it's like, oh no, what happens? It's kind of like starting a show and then the show's canceled mid-season or so. I don't know how to put it, but I just sometimes you never want the journey to end. Some of us want to be immortal. For me, I just kind of like enjoy, like, I enjoy bringing you guys enjoyment. I enjoy taking you guys as, I know what it's like out there in the world, trust me. I haven't talked about a lot of the things that I went through or going through currently. So, really, I've always tried to make this channel and the things that I do enjoyable and just good vibes and the whole 9 yards. It's one of the reasons why if I'm not feeling it, I just don't voice. I don't do my reading. I don't do things because I don't want you guys to you know be brought down by what I'm going through, right? So there's that's one of the reasons why this past little bit I haven't been reading things, or doing much really. I just been going through a difficult time. We'll just say that. I don't like talking about these things. Otherwise, also we've reached the end of another book. Right, it's a milestone for me. It's a milestone for this channel. It's something that we continue to do. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. Um, how else to put this? There is some things that happen to choices recently. I'm not gonna get into in this video. I'm probably gonna do something that addresses that specifically in and of itself. Here's my feedback and rating of this book now that it's over, and not really spoilers because here you are watching this. I'll give this book a 5 out of 10. It was okay. It was far better than some of the books we currently have. However, kind of like one of the writer slip-ups, if you'll notice, if you go back, is Farah kind of... her whole mask slipped off, let's be honest, during this chapter, and a lot of people knew a lot of things about her and everything else, but everyone was kind of like woefully oblivious except for you and the whole 9 yards. I feel like this chapter in and of itself was kind of pointless. This is something that you could have, done separately, or not separately, but together with the final chapter, because that was kind of rushed in and of itself. So if you're going to rush that, you might as well rush this. And then going over everything just seemed pointless. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm sure a lot of you probably tuned out by then, because it was like, oh, hey, let's go ahead and recap the last 19 chapters all over again. Especially if we, did diamonds, which if you didn't, then, I'm sure it was a little different and a lot shorter. So aside from that, like I said, a 5 out of 10. That's the best thing I can say. Please stay tuned for some non-choices related things that are going to be happening in this channel. Please, it'll be happening here within the next week. And then also stay tuned for some choices related things that will be happening in this channel, and also some things that we need to discuss as not just a community of this channel, but also a community for choices. And this is a very serious topic, kind of like the topic I brought up about a year or so ago involving choices and Google and things like that. So please stay tuned for that. It is something that we need to discuss. So yeah, aside from that, I don't know what else to say. It's just, I appreciate each and every one of you who has faith in me and continues to watch this content and has reached this far in this video. I'm going to be honest with you. It does mean a lot. And right now I need I need every single bit of that I can muster. I'm going to be honest with you. Like I said, going through a difficult time right now. Going through a really difficult time. Today it took a lot for me to muster to read this. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, catch y'all later. Peace out.